Good evening, Bermuda. Good evening and welcome to our BELCO Apprenticeship Program Next Era Open House. We're very excited to bring to you our open house. Of course, we would have liked to do this in person, but considering the times and the situation, we're very much happy to bring it to you virtually. Um, while we're waiting for more individuals to get on, in the next few minutes. What I will do is I'll just take the time to introduce you to our panel who's here to just give you a little bit more information about our open house, a little bit more information about our apprenticeship, and a little bit more information about BELCO and the different roles and expectations around the apprenticeship as it relates to BELCO. My name is Nadir Wade, Managing Director of bulk generation here at BELCO. I'm very much excited to be joined by apprentices George Fobler, past apprentices, sorry, George Fobler and Matthew Pereira, who are very much going to give you their experience through the apprenticeship. I've never been through the apprenticeship, so I'm not here to sell it. They're here to sell it as they've gone through the process. They understand what it takes in order to succeed and thrive here at BELCO. We also have Miss Kalita Farbit, who is our HR generalist. Yes, hi Kalita. And Kalita's very much responsible for recruitment. So Kalita definitely has some information that she'll be sharing with you. And we have Mr. Sean Roberts, who's also an HR generalist, very much in charge of training and development, as well as helping us to put the apprenticeship together. So again, as we continue to see the attendee numbers go up, I'd like to let people know, of course, if you need more information about our apprenticeship program, very much go onto our website, www.belco.bm. It's hard to miss the apprenticeship program. It's front and center. It's our key media outcry, where we're looking for the best and the brightest. Also tonight, it's an open house. It's an opportunity for us to talk a little bit about the program, but it's very much about taking questions and answers. So very much if you have questions, we have the app or the website slido.com, where you would have the hashtag BELCO Apprenticeship Open House, and that would allow you to ask questions. And we have a team that's working diligently to grab those questions, feed them to us, and allow us to have a hopefully will be an interactive and rigorous question and answer. So first of all, good evening to my panel. How you guys doing?
Doing
Good
all
evening,
right.
everyone. We're doing great.
Doing
Happy
great.
to be here.
All right,
Looking
wonderful,
forward to it.
great. All right, good. Great to see everyone. Yeah, really excited this evening to go through this. Thank you guys for joining me, and I very much appreciate it. And yeah, let's go have some fun and tell people the exciting news about what BELCO is about and our opportunities here. So may I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so tonight we're very much going to try to go through the presentation as quickly as we can so we can get to the interactive session. But I'm very much just going to give you, I've already introduced the panel, but I'll just give a little bit more information. We have George Fabler, who is an electrical apprentice, been with BELCO for a number of years, graduated recently out of the apprenticeship. Mr. Matthew Pereira, he'll give you more information about himself, very much a mechanical fitter, lots of experience, and I could tell you very passionate about the apprenticeship and what it takes to be an apprentice, and more importantly, to be able to make it, to be able to be a successful successful in his trade and successful in your trade should you be selected as an apprentice. And I already talked about Sean and Kalita as far as our HR team. I'm just going to give some general information about the program. what we're looking for. Kalita and Sean will talk a little bit about the requirements and application process. Sean will focus on the 7-day boot camp, which is something new that we're bringing to the process. And then, we'll get into the question and answers, as I've said. Next slide, please. So just some general information about the program. Before we talk about the program, let me talk to you about the business. BELCO has been in business for over 100 years. We're very much, people know us in Bermuda. They know that we provide the power, we provide the electricity. Some recent activity that persons may not know is that we've been acquired by a company, Algonquin Power and Utilities Corporation, which is our parent company, and that acquisition happened in November 2020. Also, BELCO is also part of the Liberty Group of companies, which is formerly the Ascendant Group. We have two core, I would say, business streams. Bulk generation, which is just a fancy title for the plant. And we have transmission, distribution, and retail, which is another fancy term or title for everything that's outside the plant. So when you see the trucks rolling around outside, you look over here and you see lines, you see our guys on the road, they're very much in transmission and distribution. And those make up the core operations of our business, but it doesn't mean that that's all that we have within our business. Around the apprenticeship, I want to take full credit for the apprenticeship, but I can't. Ultimately, the apprenticeship was created over 30 years ago by persons that had a lot more foresight than myself. And that apprenticeship saw a number of Bermudians graduate out of the apprenticeship, and several men have gone on to lead the company in different areas and with different attributes. Around the program specifics, yeah, it is a 4-year contractual agreement. I think that's something that people need to really pay attention to. This is not just a job. It's not just also about a career, but the apprenticeship is a contractual agreement between us and the apprentices that actually get selected. One thing that's important there is that failure to complete the apprenticeship can result in persons having to pay back the training costs. And I can tell you the training isn't cheap. Ultimately, failure isn't really the best option because there will be some liability there. Within our apprenticeship, you hear us say it, it's the ability to earn while you learn. That means apprentices do get a salary. They're able to sustain themselves. I'm not going to go into the specifics of the salary because money isn't the driver here. It's all about development and training and trying to get to the next level. Training is overseas, typically for a 1-year period, where persons go back and forth. Training could possibly be in the US, the UK, or Canada. Typically, our apprentices right now go to the UK. But we have historically had other training opportunities in other jurisdictions. Throughout that 4 years, apprentices are very much getting on-the-job experience, and it's important for us to note that this is a collaboration between BELCO as well as the National Training Board, and that's where that contractual agreement comes into play. Next slide, please. So, what are we looking for? I think this is important. So first of all, persons are going to have to be able to pass our entrance exam. The entrance exam is very much physics and mathematics based. We also have some safety related questions, some multiple choice, short answer, long answer. It also has a hands-on component. So you have to be able to pass that with a certain passing grade. Typically, we say our passing grade is about 70%, and that allows us to focus in on a select group of candidates. But frankly, what we're really interested in is people with good work ethic, people that have good character. If you can't work in a team environment, you can't get along with people, then this is not the environment for you. Matthew and George will tell you this is a hazardous environment. the persons that you work with beside you, you depend on them to kind of have your back, and you have their back in terms of safety and making sure that you go home to your families every day. So not being a team player actually wouldn't be a good fit here at BELCO. Um, People that are safety conscious, again, a hazardous environment, heavy equipment, industrial environment. It's very important that persons pay attention to safety. So persons that have a reckless attitude don't really care about others. Again, not the environment for you. Um, People that are able to perform under strenuous physical activity, Matthew will tell you the plant can get extremely hot in the summer. George can tell you it gets extremely hot outside, maybe down in vaults, which are underground and whatnot. It can be a strenuous physical environment. So, to some degree, being able to take those physical environments is very important. And again, persons that are able to be reliable and able to manage stress and pressure, that's important. If you're called out of your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, we have an issue, you have to respond. Are you type of person that's not going to respond? Well, guess what? This is not the environment for you. If you are the type of person that is reliable and can respond, then guess what? We're interested in you because that means that you have good work ethic. We can depend on you. But the question is, can you manage stress? So when our people are out there having to deal with stressful situations because something's not working, or they're having to repair something, or it's an emergency situation, hurricanes, whatnot, can you handle the stress and pressure filled moments? And how do you handle that? And how do you interact with others? That's very important. Ultimately, in terms of craft skills, I'll let George and Matthew speak more about this, but you can find more information on our website. But of course, we have the internet, and you can look up what electrical and mechanical fitters are. I think line workers kind of speak for themselves a little bit, in that they work on the overhead network, and then cable jointers is also a skilled craft. Um, I think I want to point out right now a key difference between our current apprentices and our past apprentices and our new next era apprentices. Our next era apprentices will need to embrace multi-skilling of crafts. So, to think that, I'm only going to be able to, I only want to pick up this craft, but I don't want to possibly pick up that craft. I think those times are starting to come to an end as you realize the new technologies that are coming in with renewables and whatnot. The more skills you have, the better you are. So skill security, not job security. The next hour apprentices will need to want to make it to a specialist level. Sometimes we have persons that they come in, they finish the apprenticeship, they just want to sit there forever. But it's really going to be key for us as a company to have people that really want to just become the best at what they are. And make it to that specialist level, especially as Bermudians. That's going to be important for us as a company in order to be sustainable. Also, next our apprentices, they need to understand the industry is changing. So what they enter into is not what it's going to be by the time they're ready to get out. And some of our employees are seeing that change as we go about our daily business, whether it be newer technology, whether it be automation, whether it be new engines, whether it be different communication protocols on our equipment. Technology is coming in, and we have to be able to know how to use it and think our way around it. So yeah, I just kind of thank you for that and for giving the opportunity to give that information. And may I have the next slide, please? So again, just a friendly reminder, again, for Slido to ask questions, as well as a reminder for the website if you need more information. Next slide, please. So um, I'll take my break and I'll hand it over to Kalita, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the requirements and what she's seeing in terms of the application process, and just giving you some information just to say you can't say that you didn't hear it. Yeah. So hand it over to you, Kalita.
Thank you, Nadir. Good evening, everyone. So, just talking about the requirements and the application process. So, the requirements, we do want someone who has completed their high school diploma or GED equivalent. We are looking for someone or persons 18 years or older. So we say 18 to 25 preferred, but if you are over that age range, we don't want to discourage you from applying for this particular, for the apprentice program, okay? The ability to travel overseas for training and international disaster response, so valid passport and being able to travel overseas, whether it be the UK or the US. The ability to successfully pass a drug test. So I know Sean has spoken about this in the past. We do have the drug test, which is at the end. So it's at the end of the process. So if you make it to the end of this application process, you will get drug tested. So please, if you are a smoker, just try to get that, or stop now, get that out of your system. So when we get to the process where you have to get drug tested, those drugs are out of your system, okay? With the application process, it's an online application process, so you have to submit an essay. So it's a 500-word essay on why you want to be employed at BELCO. Attach your resume, your references, and educational transcripts. Now, if you don't have your transcripts right now, that is not 100% necessary at this point, but we do want to have that essay, the resumes, and the references, okay? So it is 2 character references or 2 professional references, okay? Employment references. Now, I have noticed we have had quite a few of applications come through, but people are not submitting those additional documents. We need those additional documents or your application will be marked as incomplete. So we want to give everyone that chance. Please submit those additional documents. Everyone is submitting just their resumes. If you look on the website, at the bottom, it asks you to add portfolio. So if you go to the portfolio where it says add portfolio, it gives you the option to attach multiple documents. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself. I will be able to assist with that, okay? So then we have an initial vetting process, which is what I will be doing within, I believe it'll be next week. So we'll vet the references, we'll vet the applications that come in, vet the references, the essays, and we'll do a shortlisting. Once that shortlisting is complete, we will have a theoretical test. So that will be a 30 multiple choice test. You'll have 5 short answers as well as 4 long answers. Now these will be basic math and physics questions, and then also questions based on I guess BELCO and how energy runs, how things work. So do your research. Research BELCO. See what it is, like Nadir said earlier. See what linemen do. See what the jointers and the fitters do. And then once you take this test, it may be a little bit easier. Just get your knowledge up there when it comes to BELCO and what we do, okay? So there's gonna be also a practical assessment after that. Once that practical assessment, that's hands-on, looking at different tools and assembling things, putting things together, that's gonna be a practical assessment, which is done alongside the theoretical, okay? Then we have setup interviews. So once you get past that, those 2 assessments, there will be interviews. There will be a panel of probably a panel of about 5 people. So we'll ask particular questions based on why you want to be at BELCO and what do you know, what your interests are. We want to know all of this information. We want to get to know you, okay? There will be another shortlisting process after that. That's a secondary shortlisting process, which will take, we'll knock down a good bit of people there, okay? Once we knock that down, make that shortlisting process, we'll have the 7-day boot camp in which Sean will speak to in a minute, okay? Once we do the 7-day boot camp, that's when the drug testing, screening, criminal background checks, all of that is done. That is part of our process for anyone who comes into BELCO or Liberty. We have a drug screening and a criminal background check. So just make sure in the interview process, if you get to that point and you do have any questions or queries, please let us know. If it comes down to criminal backgrounds, if there's something on your record, Please don't wait until the end. Just let us know, be honest, okay? And then we have a final selection. So we're gonna have a final selection. We want to pick probably about 10 plus people for this final selection, okay? But we want to pick the best. So we're waiting to, we have probably about 80 applications right now.
Mm.
So once we get past that, we're going to knock that down really fast. So we just want to make sure we're getting the best of the best. So put your best foot forward. I wish you all the best. I'll be most likely in the interview process along with Sean, Nadir, and a few other people. So you'll be seeing my face again. All right.
All right, appreciate that, Khalid. I just have one question.
Sure.
The deadline for the application date, what is that?
The deadline is the 18th. What I would say and add to that is if you have your resume in and you attach your essay, we will give you some time because we know that things are getting tight. We'll give you some time to submit your references and your transcripts as well because we know that takes time. So as long as we have that essay and the resume on file by the 18th, we'll give you time to get those references and those transcripts together.
Yep, I appreciate that, Khalida. And just one thing, just a pet peeve of mine, I like to keep it real. When I get into an interview and someone gives me the whole, I used to play around and now I'm serious and, I'm ready to achieve. Guess what I say? Blah, blah. Heard that before. Heard it probably about more times than I can actually care to take, right? So I encourage people to really dig a little bit deeper and really express, why they really want this opportunity and what it actually means to them and actually what they're willing to actually go through in order to achieve it. Because this is not going to be an easy process. This is 4 years of hard work, and the run-of-the-mill answers don't impress me. Maybe I'm a little bit harsher than others, but I've kind of heard that story a million times. Be original, be yourself, stand out, be bold, and really show your character and what you can actually bring to the table. And in some ways, yeah, we're here to teach, but we're looking for their strong attributes. So, yeah, just not sure if anyone else has any tips that they may want to give people, but we don't have to stick to the slides. So feel free to say a little something.
I would just say do your research. Do your research on BELCO. Do your research on what we do. If you know anybody from BELCO, talk to them. Get as much understanding as you possibly can now, because even though we have these tests right now, we're gonna look in the interviews, we're gonna dig deeper. And so we want to know what you know. We want to know if you've done your research, and we want to know how much you know about us, and that and yeah, just be passionate about it. You know what I mean? If you're not passionate, we can tell. We want those ones who are passionate, who want to work hard, who actually really, really want to be here with us. Not because you see dollar signs, that's not it. So we just want someone who's passionate and who's done the research and knows exactly what they're talking about when we dig deeper and ask those questions.
Appreciate that, Khalida. So you could just take us through the next phase, and then I really want to hear from George and Matthew after this, because they've been through it. So next slide, please, and then we'll get on to the apprentices.
Yes, good evening. Nadir and Khalida both spoke about this new 7-day boot camp that we're going to be offering. So what's important to know at this point, you have probably been shortlisted for a second time, and the current 80 or so applicants that we have will probably be down to somewhere around 20. And through this phase, we will actually be assessing all of the candidates and shortlisting further. So some of the people that you start with are not going to be ending with you on that 7th day, or they won't be continuing on past this process. So like I said, it will be a week-long assessment of the potential candidates. It will probably run from Monday through a Sunday. The days will be long, from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. Candidates will be assessed continuously throughout. So you have to have your A game, bring your A game all day, every day. regardless of whether you're tired, whether you've had a long day or you've had some issues. We all have that, and we all have to work through them on a daily basis. There will be a curriculum each day, and that will include a bit about health and safety. It will also be a bit of history about BELCO and an overview of the company's guiding principles and values. There will also be physical training and an assessment component to determine if you're physically capable of doing the physical aspects of the job. So our workers on a daily basis are having to work under in a very physical environment. They have to lift heavy equipment. They have to bend. They have to work with heavy cables, lifting things above their head, moving laterally low as well. So it is going to be a physically demanding role, and we want to assess whether all of our candidates are actually capable of actually doing it. There will also be a couple of technical assessments on tools and materials that are used in the trade. Throughout the entire week, the candidates will actually have to log everything that they've done or that's being done throughout the week. And that's a very integral part to the apprenticeship program. These guys, George and Matthew, will be able to tell you that they actually have to, during the apprenticeship program, have to log what they're doing regarding their experience on the job, and then actually have to put that into a presentation. Then there will also be individual and group assignments that will be required to be completed, and those will be outside of normal working hours. So not only will you be with us from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., you will be required to do some form of a project of some kind or assignment with your other colleagues, and having to possibly present those projects at the end of the 7 days. So we will ensure that we take every safety precaution, including adhering to COVID testing and the Bermuda government's Department of Health protocols. So we want to ensure that everyone is in a safe environment, and we will be doing our best to make sure that everyone is protected.
Thank you, Sean. Very comprehensive. The one thing I'll say about the 7-day boot camp, we understand that it may be a sacrifice for some people, but I can tell you, anyone who's achieved anything in life has had to make some level of a sacrifice. Persons may have to be in a situation where they have to choose what level of sacrifice they're willing to take in order to be part of this. And guess what? You may take that sacrifice and you may not come out on the right side of it, and you may not make the cut. But that's how life works sometimes. But we are looking for a certain group of candidates. We are looking for people that are committed, reliable, and whatnot, which I already mentioned. But it will likely take some sacrifice in order to put some skin in the game, because this is a significant investment for us as a company, and it's not something that we take lightly. But I'll say enough talking from us. I'll say I'm going to hand it over to, I think we can hand it over to George, and first of all, next slide, and then hand it over to George and Matthew, and you guys can decide who speaks first. Doesn't have to be formal. We just rock with it. Don't be shy.
I guess I'll go first. Welcome everybody. My name is Matthew Pereira. I am 36. So speaking to Khalita's point earlier, I actually started later in the game. They say 18 to 25. I think that was what it said. I was actually 25 when I started. It is very much, you have everything you need to help you along the way. Everybody that you see on this slide, plus I would even say hundreds more people that work there who help you and hold your hand along the way. But at the same time, You have to be, as we say, the driver. You have to show that you want it. You have to be willing, like Nadir just said, you have to be willing to um, put some skin in the game. It's a 7-day-a-week operation, 365 days a year. As you get through the ranks, your responsibility grows. I just recently got promoted to specialist, which is the highest level on the floor. The next step after that would be foreman or something like that if it becomes available. Um, you get to have standby when you're a specialist. So you can be on call from 5 o'clock in the afternoon till 8 o'clock the next morning, and you do a week at a time. So if for any reason you don't think you could commit to that, then that could be a red flag for you, or that could be something that you might want to reconsider. As far as schooling, again, they're going to give you everything you need. They're going to pay your way. But as far as schooling, nobody's going to baby you. Nobody's going to tell you your assignments to do. Nobody's going to, they will help you with your assignments, of course. If you needed help on technical information or grammar or anything, they will give you a hand. But it's going to be you, again, the driver. You got to hold the steering wheel. You got to really push. You got to show them that you want it, or it's just not going to work that way. Yeah, I've had a great time of it. Everybody on the floor, again, very helpful, very team oriented. If literally you cannot do probably 80% of the jobs in the plant without somebody helping you. It's just stuff is too heavy, or it's too hot, or it's just too large. You just can't do it. So again, the team aspect is very important. Very important. Yeah, good luck to everybody. Look forward to seeing some of you on your boot camp. It's first I'm hearing of this boot camp. It sounds like a great thing. I think we're gonna have a few laughs for sure, and it's gonna be serious. But good luck to everybody.
Appreciate that, Matthew, and we'll come back to you. I just have one or two questions for you. But George, what do you have to say? You work on the, in the outside. Matthew works in the plant. Yeah, what's your experience? And just talk to the people.
Yes, good evening. No, I'll definitely like to start by saying it's not as hot as in the plant as it is outside. That's one thing. But regarding me, I started BELCO 7 years ago, as an apprentice. 27 years old now, so uh, kind of did some growing up before I came here. I didn't just come straight out of school. Got to do some jobs elsewhere, and then have a real appreciation to when I started BELCO, to actually see the opportunities BELCO gives me. Schooling for me, I went to England, and I went to England for 6 months. That's how, at the time, BELCO was doing it. Don't know whether they're going to go back to the UK or go elsewhere, either to the US or Canada. Regarding my job, easy way to really think about it is I maintain the electrical distribution and transmission system, which basically includes upgrading the overhead lines, the underground cables, repairing anything, as Nadir brought up, hurricane situations, or maybe it just be a fault, a genuine fault that happens. Trying to be there, get quick, respond quickly, and make sure you guys get your lights back on. We also do preventative maintenance to prolong some of our transformers and equipment that we have out there, because without that, then basically electricity doesn't get out to you guys. For the voltage range that I kind of work with, since I'm electrical, I deal with anything from 120, which is in your houses, and I range all the way up to 33,000 volts, and you guys will never see that. But my job at BELCO is, it's fun, but it is tough. One thing that I live by really working at BELCO is to kind of make your job a hobby, because once you view your job as a hobby, then who doesn't like doing the hobbies, kind of, so you also have future opportunities in the job to progress further. Matthew says he's a specialist. There's also jobs outside of in your job description that you might want to go further on. Me personally speaking, I'm currently trying to get into the protection department, which is heading in the right direction. BELCO is helping me out through that. We've added some extra skill courses to catch me up to speed so I can learn the job a little bit better. They've got a good team around me. All personnel at BELCO is basically like family. Everybody's smiling, everybody is friendly with each other. You can always talk to people about experiences and even life situations, really, because the older generation has a lot to teach the younger generation. Um, with that said, I just encourage everyone to apply. I've encouraged a lot of my friends and people that I see that I think would be a good fit to apply. And as Matthew says, you have to want it. You know, we can't just hand it to you. It's no handouts here. You have to want, you have to prove yourself. And I think with that 1 week boot camp, that will show a lot of what you're made of as a person and also some that you should show.
Thank you guys. I actually couldn't say it better myself. I mean, you guys even started talking about the company and what we do and electricity and just it just shows phenomenally, how you guys have come in as apprentices in your own right, on got a grasp for the industry, trained yourselves, developed, and now you speak as experts in your own right. And that's a testimony to training and development. It's a testimony to yourselves. I kind of sat here with pride, just kind of listening to you guys. So I really appreciate the experience that you've been through. Matthew, again, congratulations on getting to specialist level. We don't have enough Bermudians trying to get to that level. Sometimes we really want to be mediocre, and that's not going to cut it for us, right? I'm very interested in getting into the question and answers. So I guess I'll maybe stir the questions and answers. So I'll kind of go through them and just see, and if I see anything for someone else to answer, I'll just pitch it to you guys. So I see the first question here. Because BELCO was acquired by a Canadian-based company, Algonquin, could the successful applicants go to Canada or the UK? What I'll say about that is Algonquin is an interesting company, Canadian-based, a number of assets actually in the US, right? I would say that being acquired by Algonquin doesn't necessarily dictate, doesn't necessarily fully dictate our training regimes. We are a jurisdiction unto ourselves, but what we will do is always leverage any opportunities that our parent company has available to us. So if there's a better way, there's a better school, if there's better ways of doing things, we're definitely going to leverage that. Currently, our apprentices go to the UK, and I'm not here to say whether that will continue or whether it will change. I'm really here to say that we're going to make sure that our apprentices get the best development that we can to ensure their progress. So that's my answer to that question. This is a question I want Matthew to probably answer this one. You've been here a little bit longer. The question is, what does success look like in this position, and how do you measure it? So I guess, what does success look like as an apprentice, and how do you measure it?
All right. So success at the end of the day is making it all the way through, working it through the grades. So you start as an apprentice, you move to grade 1, you move to specialist fitter, and then as George said, at BELCO, the list is endless. You can go almost wherever you are qualified or they're willing to train you to be. But you go to skills obviously range. So apprentices are doing things like handing me tools, showing me what tools you know. Do you know how to take a bulb? Do you know how to change? Funnily enough, do you know how to change a light bulb properly in a light lead? Do you know the safety? But success is moving up through the grades, and as you go through the grades, of course, comes with pay. We talked about pay earlier. When you start as an apprentice, that should not be the most important thing on your mind. But as you move through, you get higher pay, and you are also acknowledged by your peers in the powerhouse. When somebody moves up a grade, it's announced in front of everybody, and everybody gives you a round of applause, and you're made to feel that you've accomplished the next step. I hope that helps. If it doesn't, please feel free to ask and I'll elaborate.
No, that sounds definitely a worthy answer. A question for Sean. Um, what is the best way to have oneself stand out from the other applicants? Do you have any advice for the applicants who, want to stand out and I guess be successful? That was a question I was asked.
Yeah, so as Kalita mentioned earlier, the more that you know about BELCO will separate you from many of the other applicants. The more that you can um, be as genuine as possible with regard to your desire to come and work at BELCO. The more knowledge you have around the types of positions that we have available and that you might like to, work towards. I would say taking the time out to review the math and physics resources that we've provided on our website, and doing well on the theory assessment. And then again, if you have some type of mechanical skills and background, because when you do the practical assessment, you will be assessed on how you are able to put certain components together, and the time that you're able to do it, the quality that you're able to do it with. So I would say if you can try and bring all of that to your application process, that you will stand out from most other applicants.
Appreciate that, Sean. Probably while you're there, I'll give you another one. Parsons mentioned that the language that we used around, I guess, the content on the test prep was a little broad. It's asking what is meant by force and motion and pressure. Can you just give a little bit of information as it relates to where persons can go to get examples for the test prep?
Yes, so again, that information we won't be able to give you exactly the content, of course, of what's going to be on our assessment, but you can go to our website and our application at www.belco.bm, and there are links at the application point where you can access resources on those topics. That's the sort of best answer I can give for those at the moment.
Yep, I agree. Like, so there's the task content, and if you go on those links and do your research, it'll be topics on there that say force and motion and give examples. But I guess what I can say is that the test is very much high school, we say physics based, but math based, and then there will be some, force and motion is a physics topic. So there is some, physics type of, some of that you may be able to just make your way through just by off of being a critical thinker. So that's probably my best answer to that. One young man asked a question, with the changes going on in the world with the new solar sector, where do you see the company in the next few years? Great question. If anyone's seen a lot of our talk in the public, I'm not the one to go into that today, but we've been talking a lot about sustainability and us becoming a sustainable company. We're very much mapping out those plans, but we have to understand also that we have a responsibility at this very second to provide electricity and whatnot, and we are doing that. But we very much have a sustainability group, which is a new group that's been formed under the leadership of our Krista Barnes. So we know that solar and renewables is coming into play. We know where the world is going. We're going to be a part of that journey. In fact, we're a part of that journey right now. No one can inevitably connect solar and renewables without BELCO being involved in terms of helping to support the connection, whether that be the 6 megawatts that's due to come on down the east end. You know, I can say I've personally been involved in part of that project, as well as other solar interconnection projects. So we're already part of the process. So we're not isolated from the process. We just know that as a company, we have our own sustainability mantra, and you know, I'll just say watch this space and watch where we go. And that's why I said about the next era apprentices, not necessarily will have the same experience as those that had it in the past, because that's a reality. Let's see if I can find another question. How important is it, BELCO? Oh, how important is it to BELCO to ensure that the next generation of the BELCO team is where it says fully Bermudian, but I'll say Bermudian, and how much the team is currently Bermudian? Any of the HR, you want to take that, and then if I need to jump in, Kalita, you will take that. Yeah, so how important is it for the team to be Bermudian? It says fully, but I'll say Bermudian. And then I can tell you that BELCO is like 92% Bermudian. So Kalita, sorry if I said something you were going to say, but can you jump in and say a little bit about that?
So yeah, we are about 92 to 95% Bermudian, but I think this is where the apprentice program comes into place. Of course, we have a lot of other programs that we will be rolling out in the next coming months, because we want to get Bermudians. This is our point. If we have 92% Bermudians right now, I think this has been the drive from day one. So we're looking for people who have absolutely no experience, right? And so we're trying to groom them to get to that point. Pretty much getting work permits or bringing people in are our last resort. So I think the apprentice program and the other programs that we'll be rolling out shortly will speak for itself as to why we feel that it's important to have the next generation for media.
Thank you, Kalita, for that point, straight to the point. It said numbers were given for various cuts, but how many apprentices are you looking for in the end, and how many in each position? I'll hand it over, but I want to take this on first, because if there's any flack to take, I want to take it myself. I'll take it on my shoulders by saying that we're actually not going to give the detailed numbers in exactly how many we're targeting in each area, because I think that what that does, you know, if someone has a real true interest in another area, they're gonna more say, well, I want to go in this area because there's a lot more opportunity. At the end of the day, the apprentice, the vetting process is deemed to try to look at general characteristics that make someone a good employee, a good worker, someone that is reliable, all those things. If you're those things, I want to take it back to what I was saying about skills and the idea that to be multi-skilled is a positive, right? So if one has multiple skills, then they can be utilized in multiple ways, which definitely makes you a more valuable asset and resource to a company, and guess what, to yourself, right? So I say that in a sense that, you know, I'm not going to say we need 2 in this area, 3 in this area, 5 in this area. We very much know what we want and need, but that's not something that we're putting out in the public space purposefully, and that's because we want a clean process. We want to give persons the best opportunity to put themselves forward. And guess what? If their first option isn't available and they still are a good employee, well, guess what? We're going to train them to grab a skill, and then we're going to work with them over time to see if, you know, they want to be in another area. But, you know, we have to be frank and honest and know that there is certain business needs, and we'll be driving to try to find the best for those particular business needs, and persons that have those attributes we'll be looking to work with. And also that goes into another question. I think where someone asked, you know, do people have the ability to say which area they want to be in. Yes, when they come in, Kalita will tell you that we're going to ask that question. If you make it to the testing realm, we're going to ask that question. Hey, we have, these areas, and it's not about departments, it's more about electrical fitter, mechanical fitter, line worker, whatever. Which one is your preference? Hopefully persons have done their research, and that's able to be a conversation that we can actually have up front. But if you haven't done any research, and we're asking you a question and you're just saying anything, then that's hard for us to really vet and make sense and really take you seriously as an applicant. So Kalita said it already, do your research. So let me see another. Did I answer that all right, guys? Was I too harsh? Um, to many have you grown? To one of the apprentices, how have you grown as an individual, both technically and mentally? I think that's a great question. Any of you guys want to take that on? How have you grown as individuals, both mentally and technically?
Well, I'll take that one since Matthew took the other one. Technically, when I started out, I had a basic understanding, basically of almost like house wiring. But this is way different. This is industrial. Principles are still the same, but it's just on a larger scale, looking at bigger equipment and different stuff like that. Mentally, I would say it's taught me a lot of life lessons, just working in general, being accountable, being responsible, and that in ties with responsibility, also being responsible for someone else's life, because we do work in twos, and it's important to almost have your partner's back, and you don't know what someone might be going through in their personal life or something, but like you just want to always have a lookout for them. Make sure that you got their back. If you see them probably doing something wrong or might not be looking like they're doing something right, then ask questions. There is no dumb question. Even as an apprentice, you can ask a question just to kind of make them rethink of what they're doing. So don't just sit there and be like, because the person's in charge of me, I'm not going to ask questions. Ask questions, be attentive, and the main thing is to be able to retain information, because no one likes teaching 3-4 times. And if you have a question on that you can't understand it, ask to break it down, because the teachers and mentors that we have here, they are dedicated to raising the new generation, the next generation, and they will help you any means necessary to make sure if you have to bring out a pen and paper and draw something, we will do that for you guys. So there's no dumb, stupid question. Just ask, and hopefully we'll answer it in the best case possible.
All right, appreciate that, George. Here's a question for HR. If you have family or friends at BELCO, does that put you at an advantage for the program? Do references from BELCO employees, I guess, do they help more than others? Sean, Kalita, you want to take that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So if you have family or friends that are BELCO workers, the advantage that you have is actually pulling information from them regarding BELCO. Or many of these guys have gone through the apprenticeship program, so they know what it is, what it takes to graduate from the program. They know what it takes to be successful in the company. So that is your advantage. Not as far as, well, if they provide you for reference, then you go to the top of the list. So you're just you're better off in the sense that you can use them as an additional resource to prepare you for the application process.
So essentially, it's more about just helping with preparation, but there's no preference for.
Correct.
All right, appreciate that. Um, uh, I think I wanted to go back to a question. The person asked about whether you can pick which area you want to be in. The one thing I wanted to add, because they asked, will you be assessed? And that's the point. Persons will be assessed based off of, their different attributes, their personality, how they handle situations, their critical thinking skills. We have experts and people that have been in this industry that someone may say that they want to be in a certain area, but all the attributes based off of personal experience from persons like Matthew and even more senior people that will say, you're saying that, but you don't even know what this job really entails. We know what it entails, and we know what it's going to entail, and all the attributes that you're exhibiting are actually better suited for X, Y, and Z. And that's why we don't want to predetermine too much in people's minds what they think, but rather they'll be assessed and evaluated, and it will be more of a conversation and an encouragement. And then at some point, be told that this is your option, and then that it may not be a whole lot of choice there, but I just want to be open, honest, and transparent that's what we're working with. We don't have a lot of time, so let's try to get through a little bit more questions. Um, uh, is is test prep something we must do ourselves, or will classes be offered in advance of the written test? Um, I would say no. There aren't any classes in terms of the written test. Um, the expectation is that if one has completed high school education in math, and basically in mathematics and science, even if that was some element of science, um, that persons can do well on the test. Also, what I would say too is that the test isn't just about the written tests. There's multiple choice, short answer, long answer. That's the written component, but it's also a hands-on assessment. So someone that may not do exceptionally well on the written test may do very well as a critical thinker, and they'll be assessed on the hands-on component. We know people have different learning styles. People have different strengths and weaknesses. So we're looking to do an overall assessment. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, you have to think your way. Just because you're good with your hands doesn't mean that you can afford to be deficient with your brain. Matthew and these guys will tell you, inside the plant is very physical, but these guys use their brains to think around solutions every day. And I can tell you, even as an engineer, the technician on the floor, when I can't figure it out, I look to them and I say, hey, what do you think? And even sometimes before I've realized I can't figure it out, I go to them and say, hey, what do you think? And the solutions that they come up with are brilliant, right? So I think it's important for us to understand that. But no, we're not offering any test prep courses. We feel like we're given some test prep information, which is a step in the right direction. And hopefully that information is useful to others. But we encourage people to go on, study the test prep, and use the resources. And if you do that, you should be able to put your best foot forward. But if you think you're going to be able to cram overnight and just pass the test, probably not the case. But we're really looking for foundation skills here. Let's see if there's any more. There's a question about females. Kalita, you're a female. I know you don't work in a technical realm, but what do we say? Like, are females welcomed?
Absolutely. We want females, we have had a few apprentices. I think Nadir could probably speak to
Yep.
this. We've had a few female apprentices, and we do have a few females in the field as well. And I am all for it. So let's
Yep.
have
Yep, I personally know of two female apprentices that went through the apprenticeship, made it to graded status, and have actually moved on to other roles within the organization, both technical and semi-technical roles. So females are needed and wanted. I can't encourage females enough. I mean, this is a very stable environment for employment. And I think females should very much consider it. It is a male-dominated environment, but females are welcomed, and encouraged, and we need more females. So please, 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 come show your skills, and girl power. The girls can do what the boys can do. All right, this is 2021.
And there, one of the things I want to emphasize is just from the outset, we made sure that we were very inclusive and we wanted to be diverse in nature. We redeveloped our theory exam based and to incorporate gender biases or cultural biases and things of that nature. When we were looking at our interview process, we take the gender biases into consideration, as well as the boot camp. We want to make sure that the boot camp is gender neutral as well. So we have definitely taken a new approach to how we are being more inclusive in our recruitment process.
Yep, appreciate that. I'm gonna try to hit a few questions through comments rather than reading the questions, but I'll just say the topic. One is about confined spaces and heights. The other one is about safety training and environmental training. So what I would say is, if there's a genuine phobia against confined spaces and heights, then this is likely not the environment for you. And I mean a phobia. If it's a fear that you think you can overcome, then that's different. But if there's a genuine phobia, then this is not the environment in terms of being afraid of working at heights. Especially if you're looking to be a line worker, they work at heights all day long. Confined spaces, Matthew and George will tell you some of the creepy crawler spaces they've been in. That's just the nature of our business. So we do train around the safety aspects, confined space, working at heights, asbestos training, a number of OHSC compliance training. So we're very much about safety and training. So we will train you, but if you really have a fear and this is just not the environment for you, then you have to be honest with yourself and know that this may not be the job for you, and maybe applying may not be the best thing. We're not here to discourage. We're just here to give people the reality of the business, especially as it relates to what an apprentice will be exposed to. How many females are currently in these positions, and is BELCO interested in? Oh, sorry, we already answered that question. We didn't answer how many, but we said I know personally that we've had about 2 past female apprentices in probably in the last 5 or 6 years, and we're looking forward to more. Any specific topics when it comes to math section? Again, the content is on the website. Math is math. Basic, algebra, some geometry, high school math. That's really the, and I would say that, the test was designed by Bermudian high school math and science teachers. So this is Bermudian content. There's no bias here. What type of institution does the overseas training take place? It would usually typically be a trade school or a trade organization associated with a utility, but it's basically a trade school. Just trying to get through because I know we're at 6:35. Is there room in the Sean, you could, I'll speak to this. Is there any room within the apprenticeship to rotate departments? There will be some element of a rotation, but there's plans are still being, I'll say, fully developed, and that'll be based off of the number of apprentices that come in, but persons can expect some element of a rotation throughout the different departments. What type of institution does it? We talked about that, trade schools. The rotate. Oh, I think we got through all the questions. Yep, so that was all the. I think I'll probably just give 30 seconds for everyone to just give a final word. Khalida, I'll start with you.
Sure. So just want to let everybody know, reiterate what I said. Please, please do your research. I am a part of the recruitment process, so I'll be definitely looking forward to, well, I'll be digging deep and getting into your brains to see what you know about BELCO. I want to see and make sure that you guys have a passion for this. So I would encourage you to do your research, and I wish you all the best.
Yep. Let's mix it up a little bit, George.
Yeah, just apply really. Try and do something out of your comfort zone, push yourself. I know when people hear Belka, they think of this big electrical company that could be kind of heavy on someone's shoulders. But I tell you, when you get into the situations and the environment here is so friendly, and it's makes you really feel at ease. It's no pressure for you to accomplish anything like that in the first day, first week, first year. Like you just have to grind it out. Um, and as they say, experience is the best teacher. So with more experience you get, the better students you'll become.
All right, cool. Matthew, I'd like to, you guys back to back. Final word from you, Matthew.
Um, Thank you for inviting me here today, Nadir. I hope everybody got the information that they needed. For sure, I'm sure Khalida will say it's fine. If you have more questions when you come for your interviews, please ask the questions. Um, Knowledge is power. And when you come for your boot camp, just put your best foot forward, get a good night's rest, and keep an open mind.
Appreciate
Great
that.
place to,
Thank you,
great place
Matthew.
to work. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate you. Sean, 30, last word.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming on and interacting with us today. I'm very encouraged by the applications and by everyone's questions. It seems like there's quite a bit of interest. I want you to know that we are looking forward to this new era, and I hope to see you guys on board pretty soon.
All right, and I will just wrap it up with thank you to the team. Really appreciate the feedback and input and information. I learned a lot tonight. So thank you for joining me on this virtual open house. Definitely different from what we had in mind, but I think we've given people food for thought. We've given information. And my advice is that people put their applicants put their best foot forward. Be serious, because we're going to be serious. This really is an opportunity to change the direction of a life. It's a brilliant opportunity. I'll be open and honest, and the team knows how I talk. I don't believe in entitlement. I don't believe in persons that are interested, but mother and father are doing all the work, they're doing all the research, they're hitting up Khalida, they're hitting up Sean, people trying to find out my number, and guess what? It's not necessarily applicants, it's just their mother or father. That's all cool because they want the best for you, but this is about skin in the game. This is about hard work. This is not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenging process. When we say we're looking for the best and the brightest, everyone thinks, oh, that means you're looking for everyone that only gets straight A's and all that type of stuff. That's not it. We're looking for people that have good work ethic, that can think, that want to show up to work, give an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. Um, Persons that don't become thorns in their teammates' sides, and they start coming to me saying, look, this guy's useless. What am I supposed to do with him? Or this girl's useless. What am I supposed to do with her? Right? We're looking for people that really want to be engaged, really want to be a part of the family, really want to come here and contribute, and really be a part the next era story and journey as we move to a sustainable future. And just remember, we bring the power, we do our best. We have these are the faces. BELCO is a name, but there are real people behind this. And yeah, thank you for joining us, and appreciate you, and hope that we've been able to give you information. So good night, everyone, and we hope to see you through our application process. Good luck and best wishes.